Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. So here, this is my client. That is her 4-week growth. I am flipping her hand over so I can cut underneath her nails. I just like to check how long her natural nails are. Some people's actual nail bed skin grows further out, and if you cut it without flipping the hand over, it can actually hurt them. So I highly recommend to flip your client's hands over to cut off any nail enhancements. As you might have noticed by now, I do alternate between fingers. I do this to avoid burning my client's nails since I am removing an entire nail enhancement using a high-speed drill. So you can definitely burn your client if you stay on one nail for too long. So that is why I go from the pinky to the thumb, and then I go back to the pinky to the thumb. After I file down the acrylic thin enough, I'm going to be using these clips. They're made out of like plastic. They're little cute clips, super practical. My clients love them as well. They're like, oh, these are so easy to use. And honestly, yeah, you can probably even soak off your nails at home buying these little clips if you don't want to like spend too much time when you go get your nails done. And yeah, just put a piece of cotton, 100% acetone. It cannot be less than 100, it has to be 100. And you just go ahead and clip. The other hand, as I am removing this hand, it is soaking. So I like to personally remove the acrylic that has been soaked off, prep the nail, and then go to the other hand and do the same thing. I also personally love using cuticle remover or cuticle softener, especially right now when there is really cold, dry weather. And I also love using this mini vacuum, such a game changer for me. So as you see here, I am tilting her finger just a little bit in order to get the right side, so I don't have to like put my drill in an awkward position, so I can keep that good control while I'm working close to her skin to avoid cutting her. Whenever I cut cuticles, I only cut the most obvious loose cuticle skin. I don't really dig in the nail. You want to aim for like the white looking skin. That's like all dead skin. So all the whitish looking skin, you want to take that off. I usually buy nail glue in bulk, but for some reason I had run out, so I had to go to Walgreens right before this appointment to go get some glue. But I usually use the KDS glue. A staple product, in my opinion, is curved scissors. I feel like not enough people use them, and they're so practical. You can do coffin shape, stiletto, you can even do almond shape. It's just such a good tool for you to use. Now I'm going to go in with my 80 and 80 file. I like to use files that have the same grit on both sides just to have consistent shaping all throughout the 10 fingers. I usually use a non-lint little wipe, but I had run out. So this is literally a piece of napkin that I'm using. You just have to improvise, you know, like whatever. And now I'm using 2 coats of Young Nails primer. I do 2 coats to ensure like the most retention on my client's nails. And as you can see at the beginning of the video, her previous set did last her 4 weeks. This is the inspo. I'm so excited. So I did not record all the way for the pinky because I had forgotten. I was like so excited, but I'm getting used to recording while I do nails. And yes, using these foils are such a pain, but they look so beautiful encapsulated, so that's why we're using it. And here I am using the 1 bead method, my preferred type of application when doing small to medium nails. It's just super practical. On the other hand, however, I did use a 2 bead method just because my acrylic was running low, my monomer I mean. So I didn't think of like refilling it. I was just like, I might as well just use a little bit of monomer left. But yes, my preferred method is a 1 bead. When doing ombres, I always get rid of like the harsh line between the color and the natural nail, just because you don't want it to look very obvious, especially if it's like a darker color with the nude. It's gonna look rough. So you especially want to do this if you're using like reds or hot pinks. You want to make sure that you're blending out that line. Now I'm gonna go in with the cuticle bead, which is also gonna be the bead that makes the ombre. I make sure I get those side walls, and I like to use a wetter bead when doing ombres. Let me know in the comments if you guys want a ombre tutorial. Even though it's like a very like staple design, you see it everywhere, I know it is not easy to do. So let me know in the comments if that's something you feel like you need help with. So I personally like to encapsulate once I'm done with the application on all 5 fingers. So I encapsulate one hand at a time. And the way I do it is I put a little coat of monomer and then I grab a wet bead of clear acrylic. This makes the clear acrylic be super clear, like super glass looking, and I love it. So next time you encapsulate, try and use a wetter bead. So this is what the application is looking like on the left hand. Now we're gonna go and do the application on the right hand. As you will notice with this finger, I am using a two bead application method. So if you're a beginner, I highly recommend practicing your 2 bead application. So now I'm gonna be using my 5-in-1 drill bit. I'm gonna go all around the cuticle first, make sure it's nice and sealed. How one of my clients said at one time, she's like, you have to make it nice and tight. So now I think about her every time. Gotta make it nice and tight. And then you're gonna wanna go side to side at the top. And a great tip that I have for you guys to avoid your file jumping around, to avoid losing control, scaring yourself, scaring your client, is to put your finger underneath whenever you're filing. And as you can see here, I'm using my pinky to do that. So I don't e-file all 10 fingers. I do one hand at a time. I e-file and I hand file, just because the acrylic is still drying on the other hand. So here I'm applying a base coat, which is basically the top coat, but I like to use a base coat personally because I feel like the designs last longer, so that's what I'm doing here. So I didn't have the exact same charm as the one in the picture, but she said that she's seen like these 3D butterflies that she likes, and I knew exactly what she was talking about, so that's what I was like, yeah, we can just switch out that charm for like a 3D butterfly. It's gonna look really pretty. And basically the way that I like to do 3D art, like 3D flowers, I mean, same principle. I do 2 beads or 3 beads at a time, because you can't just mold the acrylic right away. You have to wait for it to dry just a little bit, the right amount, and then you go in with your 3D brush and flatten it out a little. After I'm done doing the French tip, while it is still wet, I'm gonna be putting some glitter on top of it with a cuticle pusher, and I'm gonna put it under the lamp for 60 seconds. Now for the very final step, I of course put some cuticle oil. You want to restore all that moisture after putting acetone and alcohol and everything. And this is the final result. My client absolutely loved them. These were for her birthday, and yeah, she was like, oh my gosh, so pretty. And of course, as a nail tech, I love to hear that. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I will be doing nail tutorials every Monday, or at least every week. And make sure to subscribe and follow me on all platforms. Thank you.